Welcome to this HFS Videocast. I'm Mark Reed Edwards, Marketing Leader at HFS. Today we talk with one of the analysts behind the HFS Top 10 SAP S/4HANA Services for 2022, which was just released. That's a mouthful. Joining me is our Chief Strategy Officer, Don Ryan. Don, it is good to have you here.
Thanks, Mark.
So what's the core of the HFS HANA Services Top 10?
Sure. So this is a very fundamental study for us. We deep dive to understand the state of the SAP S/4HANA services space. Basically, we did a very extensive research study on the top providers of services, and services being, very broadly defined in terms of implementation, architecture, technology recommendations for the S/4HANA marketplace. And as part of the study, we also look at not only provider capabilities, but also overall client expectations and their experience in working with these providers as well. So this is a global study. And again, it was really to understand the end-to-end value stream of these S/4HANA services, including consulting, migration, implementation, and importantly, as time goes on, managed services as well. We assessed 11 service providers and their capabilities and how they're working with clients to drive positive outcomes in the success of S/4HANA migration. This is, S4 is a really critical piece. It can be the foundation for not only technology and application, but also operating model transformation in companies. It's a major initiative on the part of SAP, and also for a number of these service providers, it's kind of the capstone of their technology consulting and technology implementation and application implementation efforts across the entirety of their firms.
Yeah. So can you tell me, the top 10s we do are extensive, and the rigorous nature of them is something to behold. When I do a lot of talking with analysts who've done them, and it's just an incredible project to undertake. So can you tell me what you saw in the providers you studied, and also, you talked to a lot of enterprises, and what are they looking for?
Yeah, so I think, what's interesting, and we talked to, senior leaders at all of these providers, is they all know the potential of this market. So this is still in its kind of very early stages, but they're repurposing and repositioning a lot of their enterprise consulting capabilities to S/4HANA. And interestingly, they're coming at this, I think, a little bit differently than some of their existing application development initiatives, where they're taking a much greater partnership ecosystem approach, especially in working with cloud providers, software partners, and consulting partners. So up until now, or let's say for previous versions of SAP, there was the notion that companies could kind of do a lot of this stuff themselves in terms of implementation. This HANA is complex enough, and it reaches so many tentacles of an enterprise organization in terms of deployment and benefits that no one company can do all of this themselves. So this notion of ecosystem, which aligns very nicely to HFS's mindset of the one ecosystem approach. And this is really an embodiment, I think, of this new way of thinking in terms of really driving efficiency, reducing time to market, and driving outsized benefits to this. The other part from an enterprise standpoint is they're looking at providers to deliver process innovation, data standardization, especially geared towards industry solutions. So up until now, there's been an emphasis on having applications that are very aligned to function specifically, automating functions within the enterprise. But kind of new age enterprises and new age managers are looking more at the benefits of data and the embodiment of innovation within process delivery, as well as change management support and delivering all of this on time. So it's this alignment, I think, of these new capabilities provided through an ecosystem as we're describing it to drive these higher order benefits and these higher order architectural considerations at enterprises.
Yeah. So let's cut to the chase. Can you give me an overview of the top providers, who they are, and what they excel at?
So this is what all this hard work boils down to. So the top three companies in order were Accenture, IBM, and Capgemini. And for Accenture, as with many other services that they provide, they have robust industry coverage, consulting capabilities, well-aligned offerings based on clients' demand, especially for at-scale migration and integration. And coming back to my point about partner ecosystems, they had one of the more extensive partner ecosystems, and they've really made a commitment to drive a strong intellectual property base, which is in-house, as well as leveraging the IP of partners as well, and strong thought leadership efforts, to kind of drive the market forward, both by themselves and in conjunction with SAP. For IBM, they have a very strong resource pool, certification program, and geographic coverage. And they've been in this SAP business for over 50 years. So, S4 is the new generation, but IBM has kind of successfully built this new capability off the back of the decades of work they've been doing with enterprises in SAP deployment and in its partnership with SAP as well. They bring also an interesting set of capabilities around automation tools and capabilities and the integration of Watson AI with SAP data intelligence. That's kind of a unique aspect that IBM has. And for Capgemini, similar to the other two, a very strong S/4HANA resource base and certification program, and also a kind of a rapid growth and emphasis around consulting and advisory within S4. So again, in the past, I think enterprises would look at service providers for more specific technology implementation, application deployment experience. This market is changing where their enterprises are also looking at these providers for advisory services and consulting services, and how this kind of fits in with their overall transformation efforts and operating model migration efforts as well. And this is something that we see Capgemini having, a strong capability in.
That's a great overview, Don. Thanks so much for joining me here. And you can read this top 10 right now on hfsresearch.com, along with all of our research, most of which is free, and a growing library of videocasts just like this one. We'll see you on the next HFS Videocast.
Thanks, Mark.